Greetings and welcome back once again. Let me know if I could be heard. It looks like this countdown thing is stuck. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Imuna. Hold on, let me make sure. 1 2 1 2. All right, I could be heard. All right, we having a little bit of an open mic today. Went left. So let me do my open mic before we talk about did Jussie get justice. While we waiting for free people to come in, welcome to the conversation. Like, share, and subscribe. Man, oh man, yo. The day I started off the day, like, yeah. I was all excited. I was playing music. I was singing. La, 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 you know what I mean? One of them vibe day. Even though we dropped here in Florida like 20, 30 degrees, it just rained yesterday, and then boom, all the cold air came in. But we were still rocking with it. You know, open mic. Put your hands up. And by the time I got here, I said, I'm going to make some syrups. You already know. And I'm going to get ready because I have something to do tomorrow, which I'm excited about. It's a little spring camp teaching children how to make healthy foods at the local community center. So I have that tomorrow. So I'm like, yeah, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come da-da-da. All this other extra stuff. The minute, no exaggeration, the minute we get into the shop, I tell the little ones, hey, man, I don't want no problems. You know what I mean? Everybody do what they're supposed to do. And we won't have no problems. My daughter goes to pull out the laptop. All I hear my son say, no. She's pulling. The cord is plugged in, and she drops the laptop, or the laptop gets pulled off of the very thing I asked them 100 times not to put it on, the stool, and goes crashing to the ground. I mean, that was the beginning of my day, my work day. So welcome to you guys. And I said, you know what? I talked to myself. I said, self, I'm not going to allow them to steal my joy. No, they can't steal my joy. I had to talk to myself. You got to talk to yourself sometimes. But welcome to the conversation. So that's been the day. And then I was like, oh, chill. I did tell everybody I was going to come back. And so I'm back. I know it was a bit of short notice. Butterama, Queen T, what's going on? It was a little bit of short notice. And so, yeah, I know that's crazy, right? And I was giving her the look like, you better pray this computer comes on. Like, all of my stuff is on this computer. Like, all of my graphics, everything. And I already know I'm going to have to go back it up just in case. But I was like, you better pray. She was looking all nervous. Well, you better pray this laptop come back on, because I told you 103 times not to do it. But welcome to the conversation. I have to get that off so that I can free my mind, and the rest will follow. Remember that song? Oh man, long day. And they changed the time. How many people realize that? I didn't realize that till I got up this morning. I'm like, yo, why y'all always playing with time? Just leave the time alone, man. Just frustrating. You think it's 9 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock. All this other crazy stuff. Anywho, for the sake of time, because I'm going to have to go do some stuff before tomorrow. So it's an early morning thing that we got to get to. Let's talk about it. Do you think, for those who don't know, and you haven't heard the news, from a few days ago, they judged Jussie Smollet, and he got, 150 days in jail, 120 in monies he had to pay, penalties plus another 25, and I think like 3 years probation. We listened to it. It was long. We listened to it on Friday. And so some people had some questions or some thoughts, or they wanted to share. They don't think it's right. There was a whole lot of whataboutism going on. Where's this share button here? So I'm just going to drop it here in the box. Post a comment. And by the way, after I said all of that, the Yummy Cottage. So let's run a commercial real quick. I'll give everybody an opportunity. If you want to come up and share your thoughts, do you think he deserved justice? Do you think it was a miscarriage? Particularly, there's some people who brought up that, oh, you know, if it was Black people, and that the whole whataboutism conversation came up, which I have my thoughts, but I would look forward to hear yours. So I'm going to play a little commercial, and then we're going to come back. All right, all right, all right. So we're back. I don't have on me what was being said, but to something there was a contra not a contrast. There was a parallel being drawn to Emmett Till's conversation, um, to the Karens that call police falsely and why they don't get jail time. And I think just in looking at the case and the things that were said, even though I wasn't following the case in its totality, just listening to the recap of the case, this particular situation extended beyond calling the police, which is bad. Just calling the police to harass, and that's bad, right? But this particular situation, they're talking about premeditated, right? This is where the judge, in his long soliloquy, he went into something. He talked about it being premeditated. When a Karen sees somebody, unless they're your neighbor or something, if it's like in the heat of the moment, it oftentimes it's not necessarily premeditated, right? They don't know you. They're just being a Karen or a Ken at that particular point. But with the Jussie Smollett conversation, the thought process is that is it was premeditated. It was something that he planned. That's something that he considered. Something that, you know what I mean. So in that of itself, it's different. Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think it's different? It's just like they call, so even though somebody may die, and one is an accident, vehicular manslaughter, and the next one is premeditated murder. It's two different. It's the same result comes in the end, but it's two different things, and all of those things go into, to my understanding, your judgment, whether or not the judgment is going to be considerate of the fact that you didn't necessarily go out with intention to do X, Y, and Z. A crime of passion versus just some real cold, calculating New York undercover type vibration. So with that considered, and the fact that he still maintains after all this time that he's innocent, I think all of those went into the judgment that he is getting. Now, do I think that the judge is the pot calling the kettle black, in the sense that the offending party historically would have been condemned by the things that the judge said to Jussie Smollett um, during his sentences, right? If we go back and listen, which I don't have the time right now, but if we go back and listen to some of the stuff we were saying, it can apply to a whole people group that committed such offenses, because the offenses were premeditated. They did do all the things that he was accusing them of, but that does not negate the fact that if we are going to look at this case for what it is, then based on the information they brought forth, the guy is guilty. Becky's a premeditated and have been doing for a long time and never gets jail time. Again, that we would have to prove that. I hear what you're saying, Queen T, but we would have to, for if we're going to go for one specific case and then all these general cases, I don't think those are just weights and measures. You understand what I'm saying? It would have to be something that's comparative. This is why in case law or in courts or situations, they will go through all of the cases to see something that is similar to this situation and see whether or not the judgment was different than what he got, right? They have to be comparative to some degree. And so we can't just like put all the Beckys in one or all of the Karen conversations in one bucket and then weigh Jussie Smollett on the other end. I don't think that would necessarily, and this is my thoughts, be just weights and measures. We need like a case, something versus something, this something, but you know what I'm saying? What happened in this case? Was it similar? Like I saw in recent times, I think I posted it up here when I was talking about pranking in the YouTube community. I came across some YouTubers, and they were, I think they were Oriental. I came across some YouTube, I can't remember. I have to go back and look. But I came across some YouTubers who got jail time for a prank gone wrong. So they staged the robbery in this, and they called the police. And the first time it didn't go off, and the second time they were, after being told like this is an offense, you cannot make a false police report, right? They end up getting either probation, I think it's probation or jail time or something to that degree. So because of what they said he did, not only did he plan it, he orchestrated it. He used the resources, not just that night. The resources wasn't used just the night that he called and made the report. It went on. The case was on and going on and on and on because of the way it came to the public. And so for those reasons, um, And for all of the evidence, like I said, it's like, what else were they going to do to him? Judah says, I feel as if he definitely deserves jail time. Just as I think women that claim rape and later say they were lying or is found out to have lied should face jail time. Right. I mean, Torah lets you know that. First, like in the case of Haman, if anybody remembers Haman in the book of Esther, right? And Haman did not like Mordecai. And he was over there spitting game like, yo, you know what I think you should do? You know, this premeditated ill judgment that he wanted to come upon somebody else. And so the ill that you wish for the other person shall be returned onto you. Right. But this justice system is kind of it's partial in judgment, which the Torah says you should not be. But like you said, for somebody to say that this person raped them and it is not true, then yes, they should meet some judgment. The same judgment that they were looking for that person to undergo, they should have some accountability for lying. It's called do not bear false witness, right? That's a whole commandment, and for a reason, because you can get people hurt and in trouble for lying on them or misrepresenting their person. Queen T says the Attorney General, I think she said, she felt too harsh and compared to another case, and they reckless. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. If it, I didn't. That was that 5 hours they was about to give for me. I'm over here listening to some inspirational, but I'm like, y'all not getting my 5 hours. Not for no, none for Jussie. But yeah, they probably did. I'm not sure. But just based on what the verdict, they said it was the lowest class felony, if I'm not mistaken. And you know they already have the maximum and minimums for those type of things. So he why did the man say you're a felon? Yo, the judge was tripping though. The judge was like, now's my time. Is the camera on? He swooped this little bang to the side and he went in on him. I don't know if you guys saw some Juicie's older brother and his sisters and their feelings like, oh, the judge should, they're gonna try to make it racial. But I think it was a bad plan. It was a bad plan. Like when they said the dude tightened the noose, I'm like, bruh, this is not the costume, calling the set and the director. Like, you're doing too much. You're doing absolutely too much. I guess the people who wanted to come on and talk about it, uh, they ain't get the memo today. And I was listening to another judge who said that even though he gets 150, maybe he doesn't even serve 2 months out of that what do you call it? 2 months out of that sentence. So I look, 5 months, maybe he serves 2 months and he's on, probation and he has to pay a fee. I guess it's a deterrent from anybody else trying to stage something like this. But in reality, on the other side, for what people were saying, historically, yes, it is true. Historically, these type of false reports have been made. Historically, people have lied. Historically, narratives have been spun. People have lost their lives of color, right? And the people who perpetrated the crime walked free. That's absolute fact. That's the story of Black Wall Street, right? The stuff, you read back the story of Black Wall Street, there was already some tension. So when the judge is talking about, reigniting tension, there has always been tension. As long as the real issues are not being dealt with, as long as the wrongs are not corrected, there will always be tension. And so the very tension that he said that Jussie was trying to play off of in 20, what was that, 19 or 8, whatever year that was, is the same tensions that existed to a degree in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Because if we can remember, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, what was happening is that this thriving community of melanated people have taken that which they've been given and expounded upon it, right? And generating wealth. And the poorer or less advantaged European people, who the system is already set to tell you that by nature, you're supposed to be exceeding these people. So that's a testament to the crooked system, because you're not looking at the fact that the person is being industrious or resourceful. You're looking at the fact that the person's skin is black, so-called, and therefore they should not be exceeding. So the thought is that these so-called Black people are putting us to shame. And so the Tulsa, Oklahoma, to my research, as we know, it's about jealousy. It's about envy, right? It's about sabotage. It's about not allowing that pull yourself up by your bootstrap mentality to flourish because you're not of the right race or nationality. And so the thing that he is talking about in today's space and time never went anywhere. So to put all of that squarely on the shoulders of Jussie is not, I think that was a reach. You feel me? Just like the way his bangs was reaching, that was a reach. But I think it's just like, oh yeah, we could blame one of them so that we could take the tensions off of us. That and the fact that there were so many people who were backing Trump at the time who were upset about this, right? So I don't know. Somebody could have even set Jussie up. Who knows? Somebody could have been like, yo, Jussie, this is what I need you to do. You know what I mean? Who? I don't know. Did he operate alone? I don't know. Because it don't add up. Judah says, I have 15% on this. That sounds fair, especially consider that other people may be in or could be in a similar situation and they will be looked upon as liars because of Jussie. Yeah, exactly. You called wolf, right? You cried wolf, and this is really happening to people. Like you said, it's really happening to people who are not getting media attention, who the police are not arriving, who are never getting justice. Like it's really happening to people. Some places you may live in the South, in the country, this stuff is still happening to people. Yeah. And all of the attention is going on somebody who pulled a stunt. So it does kind of muddy the waters and make people to think twice about what they were already in denial of happening. Remember, in those times, this was an event to lynch a melanated man. Mostly men were being lynched during those times. It was an event. They sent postcards out. They invited people. It was like a carnival. So imagine the appetite of a person like the Roman gladiators going into the ring with the alligators and the bears and the lions, right? And people sitting around to watch this stuff. That appetite for blood and gore and death, it was here not too very long ago. 100 years ago, that appetite was here, right? And it was accepted in society to be able to indulge in these type of things. That's why I said I think he was reaching. And Jussie is pulling the race card. That's why he said, what did he say? Oh, if you think I was stunting, that would be like flying in the face of my people's 400 years of oppression, something to that degree. I forget. Hey, now, if y'all remember what he said, y'all remind me. But Jussie's pulling the race card, and it didn't necessarily work. Because I think it was Queen Nzinga who was talking about, like, he didn't necessarily have to do it like that. So it's like, I want to rock with you, but I don't know. This is, you know what I mean? Why did you have to do it like that? You feel me? Hey, y'all, my bad. Just popping up and not speaking. Yeah, so Judah, welcome to the conversation. So if you have anything to say on this, do you think it's the same thing as Karen's, or Ken's, or Bradley's? You know what I mean? Is it the same thing or is it different? Do we have to measure this thing differently? Do we have to weigh it differently? Every case is not weighed the same. And you have to consider all of these factors before we just, broad brush it and be like, oh, they did it over here. Why? If it's wrong over there, then it's wrong over here, right? So should Karen go to jail in addition to Jussie going to jail? Or should Jussie not go to jail because Karen didn't go to jail? You know what I mean? So sometimes I kind of feel like it's wrong, but because they got away with wrong, we want to get away with wrong too. And we already know to a certain degree that the justice system is imbalanced. You get more time for crack cocaine than you do for methamphetamines, right? Because it's known that melanated people, this is their drug of choice, so you're going to give them more time. You know what I mean? So we already know it's crooked, but does that say that what the young man did, does that excuse what he did? Was it wrong or was it right? Did you say should absolutely have been locked up even in old age? Why he call her the yeah, the Emmett Till, like I said, the Emmett Till conversation, all of those conversations are like unfortunately very common. Emmett Till's one, his mother just chose to at that time, it was the perfect time to have that conversation. But such things that have been happening, that's mistress plantation vibes. If the plantation mistress, I have a video on this channel. I think it's called like, that was when I was on my slavery research. It's on here somewhere. But the plantation mistress vibes is, if you don't do what I say, then I'm going to cry rape, or I'm going to cry that offense, or I'm going to cry whatever it is. So that was her way of, that was her control mechanism. Remember, at that time, she's not, Popo always be on this road trying to just bother people going around on their merry way. Anyway, at that time, she doesn't necessarily have any power. Yeah. And so epigenetics, if it's in our ancestors' history, is within our DNA, then theirs is within their DNA. And one of the things that Madame, the Mistress Plantation, would do is call foul when there is no foul, if she wasn't getting her way, because she knew that if she appealed to the husband or the man or the father, then she would get her way through manipulating him. And so it's nothing different. It's the same thing. Yeah, she needed to be held accountable. Sorry, she needed to be held accountable, definitely. But again, to hold a person accountable, right, we're going to say, who's going to take you to court? Right now, the Jussie conversation, somebody took him to court. Yeah, like thumbs up the video, like the video, share, all that good stuff. So somebody took him to court. In the case of Emmett Till, somebody would have to have brought a charge up against the family of the woman who violated and lied on him to get him in the condition that he is. It's, for instance, the family of the family of Martin Luther King. They sued, what was it, the government? They sued. A lot of people didn't hear about the case. They won the case, but nobody really hears about the case because they wanted to go and investigate the assassination, right? That's exactly what it was, of Martin Luther King. And they went up against them. And there's a lot of information even on their site that talks about that case, that maybe we can come back and talk about it. If I didn't talk about it already, I think I already talked about it, but I'm just trying to recall it to memory. So my point being, there has to be somebody on the side of the victim who's willing to go to court. If there's nobody on Emmett Till's side that's willing to sue or go to court, then who's going to pick the case up? You know what I mean? Who is going to court? Who is going to stand in his stead? His mother, his father, his extended family? Who's still alive to, hold that woman accountable for lying? You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts, is that in the legal system here, there's certain protocols and ways in which that you have to go about getting quote unquote justice. Yeah, they sued the government. There's a lot of information. I forget the name of the site off my head, but if I type it up, I'll remember. But over there, they have all of the documents declassified, because what happened is, in many of these cases for 50 years, the documentation is classified. Okay. So all of the stuff that they have, the secret papers, the espionage, all that stuff is classified. You don't have access to it. So in recent years, it was declassified. And I remember when it was declassified because I started looking. So they have all of the declassified documentation on the website. It's like Martin Luther King, something, something, something. I can't remember right now. Y'all, please forgive me. There was also, I remember coming across some declassified documentation about Marcus Garvey and how they sent ships behind him, and actually ahead of him, because remember, he wanted to go to the continent, and they sent ships ahead and told them, don't let him in. In the case of Martin Luther King, we already know the amount of surveillance that he was under. We already know a lot of the things that was going on, but it was hard to prove because a lot of times people are like, nah, that's just a conspiracy, whatever the case may be. But now the declassified documents shows you that, this is exactly what they were doing. It was a takedown. My point being, his family wanted to know, so they sued. So in the case of Emmett Till, who was going to sue the old lady who lied on Emmett Till? Is my point. You would have to have somebody who's willing to go through that. For those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. I'm not going to stay too long because my phone is going to die. But I just said I was going to come back and give an opportunity for us to say or think or share whether or not Jussie got justice or did he get his just desserts, right? Does he deserve some time to sit down in a cell and think about what he's done, or was it unfair for them to give him jail time? My brain be foggy lately. There's so much on my mind. My apologies. I can't pull the information like I used to. But definitely, I'll probably drop it in the link below. What are these ones here doing? Yeah, so I dropped the link in there. He needs to sit his tail down. I mean, yeah, he needs to take a moment. And his siblings seem very delusional. Like he never did anything wrong. Like we got questions though. If he didn't do anything wrong, who did all of this? Yeah. So that's the link. But he probably, let me see how much I got on this. 11%. We ain't gonna make it through. We only got 11%. So let me go ahead and play this real quick, and then we'll come back. There was something else that another article that I came across, probably later tomorrow if I have the time. It's cold. Do not bring that ball in here. Yeah, so with that said, yeah, it got chilly, man. 64 degrees. For us, that's cold. You got to put your whole jacket on and stuff. With that said, sometimes in this country, the punishment does not fit the crime. And that's what makes people not learn, you know what I mean? Because the punishment doesn't fit the crime. But I guess they're just using in their mind what is available to them to use. So they hit him in the pockets, and they hit him where he's on parole, and they told him to sit down. And for anybody but at the same time, they're putting people on trial who they say broke into the what do you call it, to the to the White House. So the January 6th, they're actually prosecuting and coming against people of European people who went in. So what do we say about that? You know what I'm saying? Is that just weights and balance, that they entered into the Capitol, however the people may want to say, and they're looking to persecute them, right? And they're not necessarily melanated, they're not necessarily black, they're Europeans, red-blooded Americans, as many would say, waving their flags, and they enter the Capitol, and they're looking to prosecute as we speak. So that's also something to consider, that there's more going on. I mean, it was around the same conversation of Trump, the White House, what's going on in America. So I think that's something to consider as we have this conversation as well, that they seem like they're looking to put everybody to sit down for one reason or another. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, this is going to die. And for that reason, we'll come back another time. Everybody have a blessed day. If you have any comments that you want to talk about, or any questions or any topics, drop a link below, and we'll come back when we have some time and pick it up. Hold on, peoples. It's time change, man.